Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos, everybody. Those of you who are with us here in the sanctuary and those of you on Zoom, lovely to be with you. Rabbi Ross is taking a weekend off, so it's just Cantor Wolf tonight. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. And so we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Yedid Nefesh is on page 10 in the prayer book. Yedid Nefesh Rachamon, Yedid Nefesh Rachamon, Mishul Chavdecha El Retzonecha, Mishul Chavdecha Yadadadai El Retzonecha. Yorutz Avdecha K'moyal. Excuse me. Yishtachave Yadadai Yadadadai. Excuse me. I'm going to start that again, right? Interrupted by sneezing. So sorry. Oh, I got everything right here. Thank you so much. We turn to page 2 for the lighting of the Shabbat candle. For those of you who are at home, it'd be lovely if you take your candles and light them and then join in the blessing. Even though we cannot hear you, you know you're going to be chanting that blessing with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Shabbat Shalom. And now for those of you who are at home, you may join us in Kiddush, which is on page 5 in the prayer book. Have a little grape juice or a little sweet wine or whatever might be in your cup. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodeshu me'ahava uv'ratzon inchilanu zikaron le'masei v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrei kodesh zecher litziot Mitzrayim kivanu mochata ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodeshcha ve'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadosh HaShabbat. L'chaim. And while the mask is off, no worries, I have hay fever, so I sneeze. Perfectly healthy. We're going to continue welcoming Shabbat with a reading on page 9, at the bottom of page 9. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. We turn to Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Shabbat bride on page 20. Lecha Dodi on page 20. It is a custom in many communities to rise for the last verse, Boi v'Shalom, and to turn, some people say to the back, to the door, to the west. Whatever way we turn and we welcome physically the Shabbat queen. So I think the minhag here is to turn to the door of the sanctuary. Is that correct? Or not? You've never seen it? Huh? Then I'm introducing something new. Well, it's really up to you and those of you at home. If you'd like that custom, you may feel free to do that before the very final verse, which talks about welcoming in Boi Kala, welcoming in the bride. Lechadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad ishmianu elam yuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'letiferet v'litila lechadodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela lechadodi likrat kala Shabbat nekabela likrot Shabbat lechol v'nelchakim v'kor haberacha merash mikedem ne'asucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila lechadodi לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי כברך, קומי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולתוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please be seated. And we continue welcoming in Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem, which welcomes the angels of Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem, page 24. 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Elohim Lesholom, Malachei HaSholom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitekhem leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chatzi Kaddish is on page 26. יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברכידותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביום מכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, נמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. And we We turn to the Baruch Hu on page 28. If you're able to, you may rise. Baruch Hu on page 28. Adonai, Amevorach, Baruch, Adonai, Amevorach, Amevorach, Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. The top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch ata Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha avta, Amecha avta, Torah u'mitzvot, chokim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta, Alekin Adonai Eloheinu, Beshochbeinu v'komeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, U'b'mitzvotecha le'olam eved. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla negei yomam v'layla ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Eved. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha. Ve'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. On the top of page 39, a reading before the Michamocha. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, and that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Michamocha on page 40. מי כמוך רעילים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. מלכותך רהוב ענך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. מלכותך רהוב ענך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זוהי ענו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. We often skip over the Hashkivenu on page 42, and it's not on my service list, Liv, but can we go to page 42? Because it's such a beautiful bedtime prayer. I'd like to read it in English. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, O guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our coming and our going to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. Baruch ata Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים. We continue with V'shamru on page 44. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשו אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. I invite you, if you can, to rise as we prepare for the Amidah on page 46. Page 46. Adonai, שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם מעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה כל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומותיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידון מלך, מלך
לחיה ולמצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
On page 53, a reading in the middle. Ya ana emtsa'acha, where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. As we do every Shabbat, when we get to the end of the Amidah, to the Modim, the prayer of gratitude or of thanksgiving, we take a moment and think of the things we're grateful for. Those of you who are in the sanctuary can share. Those of you on Zoom, feel free to write in the chat what it is you are grateful for this week. Anybody here have anything they'd like to? Yeah, Scott.
I'm grateful for Shabbat. Even though I'm working tomorrow, it feels like a day of rest.
I'm thankful that my mom is feeling a little better and that my granddaughter's coming home from Colorado. My kids are coming home tonight, because I haven't seen my little baby in 12 days.
Enjoy, enjoy. Yeah, Jay.
I'm glad my grandson is doing better. He plays basketball. And some of the guys on the team, to me, are like animals. They don't care. Whatever they do, they knock you down or whatever it is. But
I'm glad he's feeling better. There you go. Put your mask back. Beautiful. Yeah. Sherry.
I'm grateful for this temple. It keeps me busy.
That's for sure. You're doing a good
We're
job.
thankful for you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Liv.
I'm thankful for Cantor Wolf for leading us tonight, and for my dog. He's not my dog, he's my brother's dog, but I've been taking care of him for the past few weeks while they're away, and I just love him a lot. He's the light of my life.
Well, I'm grateful for a beautiful day today and a lovely walk on the beach. I'm going to invite you to just take a few moments for private prayer. And you're always welcome to browse what's in the book or to be with whatever comes up in your own heart. Say shalom, shalom imroma יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל. עושה שלום שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Just as we share our gratitude when we gather on Shabbat, hopefully at other times too, we also think of those who are in need of our support, who are in need of healing. I have a list of names here which I will share, and if there are additional names that you need to put in the chat, you can do so or mention them here in the sanctuary. When we chant our prayer for healing, we think about Joan Sorgan, Dawn Sorgan, Whitney Klein, Nadine Miller, Ted Miller, Seth Miller, Danielle Miller, Samantha Miller, Jordan Miller, Sherry Copeland, Scott Copeland, Fred Rosenfeld, Deanne Rosenfeld, Jack Leviton, Isabella Lagamba, Robin Dunn, Ron Druckman, Moses Powell, Margaret Powell, Yvette LaRochelle, Roberta Klein, Richard Grossman, Louis Allen, Audrey Hirsch, Barbara Kantrowitz, Stephen Nelson, Kathy Volpe, Marilyn Zaga, Michael Stewart, Abby Immediato, Gay Shama, Tony Kippelman, Jay Kaplan, Jean Kaplan, Jen Rubin, Robbie Huff, Mark Huff, Taylor Huff, Dan Cerulli, Wielaine Cerulli, Letitia Cerulli, Fran Boehm, Walter Boehm, June Hess, Michelle Finley, Jay Hoffman, Dan and Lee Cerulli, Carl Lembo, Danny Rosillo, Jim Sicily, Jean Kaplan, Loretta Umlas, Audrey Goodplan, Tessie Micos, Blanche Tyson, Jeffrey Side, Monty Side, Sheldon Levine, Richard Galvin, Richie Galvin, Carrie Galvin, Matthew Kent, Danica Kent, Donna Long Moran, Christine Lerner, Ann Beckman, Tina Cohen, Myra Levine, and Marie Vanquier.
Kathy Goldsmith.
From chat, Donna Longmore.
Of course, we include also all who are still suffering from COVID and struggling to recover to their full health. And we join together in Misha Berach on page 253. 253. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Lemo ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mekor habracha lovotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Earlier this afternoon, I came out here a bit early because traffic on Fridays coming out of Manhattan is so terrible that you may as well leave a little earlier. And I spent some wonderful time walking on the beach. It was just the most glorious day. And I was thinking already before I came to the beach, but thinking of the prayer of Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav. Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav is a very famous rabbi who lived end of the 18th, beginning of the 19th century, and who very much connected with nature. So, given the fact that this was Earth Day this week, I want to bring you a prayer by him, a little bit of text, and then a beautiful song that is based in the text of Rabbi Nachman. This is his prayer. Grant me the ability to be alone. May it be my custom to go outdoors each day, among the trees and grass, among all growing things. And there may I be alone and enter into prayer, to talk with the one to whom I belong. May I express there everything in my heart, and may all the foliage of the field, all grasses, trees, and plants awake at my coming, to send the powers of their life into the words of my prayer, so that my prayer and speech are made whole through the life and spirit of all growing things, which are made as one by their transcendent source. May I then pour out the words of my heart before your presence, like water, O God, and lift up my hands to you in worship on my behalf and that of my children. Grant me the ability to be alone, and may it be my custom to go outdoors each day among the trees and the grass and among all growing things. I love that prayer. I don't know about you, but I find that connection when I'm out in nature, whether it's the beach or the woods upstate, or even Riverside Park sometimes. Just witnessing nature coming back to life in the spring is miraculous. Walking on the sand, listening to the waves, the seagulls. There's something there that we don't find inside the building. And Rabbi Nachman knew that. He would go out and pray in nature. And I hope we can do that too someday. I know the beach up here is not so great right now, but at some point we might be able to be outdoors and pray in nature. But I was thinking of it a lot these days in terms of Earth Day and in terms of our concern about our Earth that we live on and what we do with it. You sent out a lovely Shabbat email earlier today or yesterday, and it talked about second chances, right? Because next week is what we call Pesach Sheni, a second Pesach, that gives everybody a second chance. And I thought about that and I wondered, will we actually have a second chance when it comes to the world we live in? And if we don't start paying attention and changing our ways now, I'm not really sure that we'll have a second chance. Certainly not we, perhaps a number of generations down the road, but I'm not so sure about that. And so that sense of respect, awe, and care for the world we live in, just like Rabbi Nachman expresses it, he finds the divine in each blade of grass, and each tree, and each living being, and each plant. And so his prayer, right, could as well have been written today about where we are right now, facing climate change, facing increasing mountains of plastic waste and other refuse that just won't disappear unless we change our ways. He even goes so far, Rabbi Nachman, as to say that each blade of grass has its own nigun, its own melody. So in some of his writings, he writes about how the shepherd, every shepherd has a unique melody, according to the grasses and the place where he herds the sheep. The grasses have their own song, shirah. And it is through the song of the grasses that the shepherd makes his nigun, his melody. How do the grasses get a song? Right? I'm not so sure, but it's got to come from somewhere else. This is how he thinks about King David, who was a shepherd and a musician. Right? King David started out as a shepherd, but played the harp, and is the one who comforted King Solomon, who was depressed. And through the music of David, he brought him out of the depression. He says, since the shepherd knows the nigun, he gives strength to the grasses, and so there is something for the animals to eat. And out of that comes a new melody for the shepherd. Know that every blade of grass has its own song. Know that when a person prays in the field, then all of the grasses and plants together come into the prayer. And so for him, going out into nature really was uniting his prayer with that of creation, which is a beautiful, beautiful image. Now, the song that I want to share with you is a song written by Naomi Shemer. You may have heard of her. You certainly know another song she wrote. It's pretty famous. Yerushalayim Shazah. That's hers too. She wrote a lot of songs. But this particular one is based on the writings of Reb Nachman. And I'll read you the translation of the song, and then I'd like to share the song with you. Know that each and every shepherd has his own tune. Know that each and every grass has its own song. And from the song of the grasses, the tune of the shepherd is made. How beautiful and pleasant to hear their song. It is so very good to pray among them and to serve Adonai in joy. And from the song of the grasses, the heart is filled. And when the heart is filled by the song and yearns for the land of Israel, a great light is drawn forth and goes from the land. And from the song of the grasses, the tune of the heart is made. דע לך שכל רועה ורועה יש לו ניגון מיוחד משלו. דע לך שכל עשף ועשב יש לו שירה מיוחדת משלו. משירת העשבים נעשה ניגון של רועה. כמה יפה ונאה כששומעים השירה שלהם. טוב מאוד להתפלל ביניהם ובשמחה לעבוד את השם. ומשירת העשבים נעשה הלב ומשתוקק. וכשהלב מן השירה מתמלא ומשתוקק אל ארץ ישראל, אור גדול אזי נמשך והולך מקדושתו של האורץ עליו. ומשירת העשבים נעשה ניגון של הלב. ומשירת העשבים נעשה ניגון של הלב. May we all learn to listen to the songs of the grass before it's too late. Shabbat Shalom. I'd like to invite you to turn to page 278 for the counting of the Omer. We are still in that period of 49 days between the beginning of Pesach and Shavuot, page 278. 49 days, 7 weeks, the period of preparation, of moving out of Egypt, getting ready to receive Torah at Sinai. So, at the top of the page, הנני מוכן ומזומן לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת העומר. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of the counting of the Omer. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. היום 27 יום, שהם 3 שבועות ו6 ימים לעומר. Today is the 27th day, which is 3 weeks and 6 days of the Omer. And we turn to Aleinu on page 282. If you are able, please rise. 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגוררנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This week, we remember, as every week, all those who have died after suffering from COVID-19. We observe the yahrzeits of Dewey Albert, Jacob Benjamin, Samuel Ellerstein, Hyman Galina, Betty Garbow, Samuel Granoff, Nechama Halabi, Dr. Morris Kanoff, Cy Kantrowitz, Philip Kramberg, Marion E. Liederman, Samuel C. Lembeck, Lynn Levy, Jack Lewis, Anna Menheimer, Hyman Messler, Edward H. Myers, Clara Winkler Migden, Adolf Picus, Judge Raymond Reisler, Etta Rosenberg, Ella Rosenberg Russell, Eugene Russell, Gloria Sevron, Bella Schwartz, Sylvia Spector, Ruth Coper Stern, James Trotto, Everett Wadler, and Joseph Wiesel. Are there any other names you'd like to mention? Put them in the chat or in the sanctuary, mention them out loud. Yehi zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We join together in the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitkadal yitkadash shemei rabba, be'alma divra chirutei, ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach, le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal, shemei d'kodesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru amen. Oseh shalom b'momav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and I would add to all of humankind, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Sherry, do we have any announcements? No Torah study tomorrow morning, correct? The rabbi is off this weekend. That's it?
Sherry, what's the date? Sherry, what's the date if we want to get the cheesecake? What's the date of?
Okay. There is Hebrew school on Sunday,
Hebrew school on Sunday.
and Shavuot, you say is, that's May, right?
Yes, that's in 2 weeks. So we have a little time before Shavuot, though it's never too early to start getting ready to prepare and receive Torah, right? So we're going to conclude our service on page 327 with Ein Eloheinu, the version that has the Ladino words as well as the Hebrew. Page 327.
Enk Eloheinu, Enk Adonenu, Enk Malkeinu, Enk Moshiachenu. None como nuestro Dios, none como nuestro Señor, none como nuestro Rey, none como nuestro Salvador. Mich Eloheinu, Mich Adonenu, Mich Malkeinu, Mich Moshiachenu. ¿Quién como nuestro Dios? ¿Quién como nuestro Señor? ¿Quién como nuestro Rey? ¿Quién como nuestro Salvador? No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshiachenu. Lo haremos a nuestro Dios, lo haremos a nuestro Señor, lo haremos a nuestro Rey, lo haremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshiachenu. Bendicho nuestro Dios, bendicho nuestro Señor, bendicho nuestro Rey, bendicho nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshiachenu. Tú sos nuestro Dios, tú sos nuestro Señor, tú sos nuestro Rey, tú sos nuestro Salvador.
Shabbat Shalom. Let's follow Rabbi Nachman and spend some time in nature and listen to the songs of the grass. Good Shabbos.